What's up, my friends? I've got Paranormal here, partially set up, and so I'm going to do a quick how to play video and then go right into a playthrough. So the how to play will kind of get you going, and then the playthrough will show you the rest of the way on how the game works, how it plays out. And so anyway, first of all, you got your setup right here. We have a 4x4 grid, and these are all just randomly placed, these city cards, and you'll notice they've got some artwork, and then they've got the name of the city, Mammoth Cave in this case, and then a symbol, little Dreamcast logo there. But every location has those, and then some of them have little abilities as well. So for instance, here, if you spend energy, you can get extra health. I'll explain those kind of as we go. But anyway, here's the setup here, and then you start off your 3 heroes that you have chosen. There's going to be 6 in the game. You can choose 3 to begin each game. I've chosen Sean, Dan, and Lucy here. And each of them have different abilities, different things going on. I'll explain those second. But you get the standees for those. I'm going to just lay them down flat. But normally you'd have a standee kind of move it around. But since I'm filming overhead here, we'll just lay it down flat, make it easier for you to see. And then here's the hero card. You have the artwork, how much health they have, how many dice they roll, how much energy dice they have, any special setup, like he gets a D8 instead of a D6, and then any special abilities, and I'll explain those as they come up. And then each hero comes with an item. So Dan here, he has a 71 Chevelle, a little extra movement. Sean gets you a revolver, a little extra, some extra dice in combat. And then Lucy gets you some salt, and you can ignore damage one time. These two, the revolver and the salt, are one-time use, but then you'll notice the Chevelle has the icon right there that lets you know you can use it multiple times throughout the game. Only once per turn, but you can keep it in your inventory after you use it. Then each hero has 3 health, so we got these 3 heart icons here, these tokens, and then each hero comes with a certain number of energy dice. So 4 in each of these heroes' cases. So we're going to take 4d6 and put them on those 2, and then Dan, part of his setup, he gets a d8 instead of a d6. So that'll kind of change some of your odds when you're rolling dice for combat and whatnot. Then you'll also notice a couple tokens right here. These are what's called assist tokens, and they let you mitigate some things as far as when you're fighting monsters to prevent damage or to prevent what's different icons, basically, that can manipulate you. The monsters have a tendency to mess with you as you're trying to defeat them. And so the assist tokens can help overcome some of those challenges. You can get more of those as you play. Then up here, you'll notice a few things. You have the Doom track. And so as the Doom goes up, you'll add a cube to the board, and if it hits 15, you lose the game. You can also adjust that down for a change in difficulty. We're going to be playing on the easiest mode right here. It's a little easier to play it on easy when I'm having to talk through everything and not have to think as hard. And so just kind of keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, this is all prototype components. I printed this off with my home printer, and then I cut everything out, and I try to make it look as nice as possible, but this is nowhere near as good as far as quality as the final production, when it comes out later this year. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is basically print and play style right here. And in this game, we're going to be going against Tannen the Witch. Kind of have her card right here. She's going to start off on the gray side. We don't know where she is, and we're going to have to find clue cards to figure out where she is on the board. These symbols, all right, play into the clues to kind of tell you, okay, this clue tells us she's on the purple, hourglass. So we know out here there's only certain purple ones, and so she's on one of these 3 if that clue was attached to her. And so as we narrow down the options, we'll be able to find where she is on the board, and then she'll go to that city, and then we'll have to go there. All these cards are going to flip over to reveal a different location as we kind of zoom in and go. Now we have to figure out where she is in the actual town. So if she turns out to be in Mammoth Cave, once we get to that part of the game, we'll flip all the cards over, and that'll give us new locations to explore, some different things going on, and we'll basically zoom in and have to defeat the big bad evil lady here, Tannen the Witch. Who knows what she's trying to do? Probably take over the world for some nefarious purpose, probably related to taxes or tax evasion. I don't know. We'll have to ask her later. But anyway, so you're trying to get clues throughout the game, and different monsters give you clues, and some clues pop up on the board. You have to go find them, and you're going to be adding clues to your big bad. So we have Tannen the Witch, but there's also a couple more that come in the box. One of them is Baal the Demon King, Another one is Remiel, the Archangel. So we've got some options here, and they scale up in difficulty, this being the easiest and the Archangel obviously being the hardest. And then we also are trying to find a weapon, in this case the Python, this kind of old school revolver. We have to find that. It's going to help us in our attempt to defeat Tannen the Witch. And then also we're looking for one of our family members in this case. This is Bree, and we're trying to figure out where she is. She has been, taken captive, taken hostage by the cultists. So Tannen has a army of cultists that go with her, and so when you're fighting her, you're also going to be fighting this group of cultists. It's not just random monsters. When you get to the end of the game, you're fighting specific ones, and the cultists have our dear sister Bree somewhere. So we have to figure out where she is, and then go find her, defeat a cultist, and rescue her, and then we'll be able to actually add her to our team, which gives us more actions. And so if you're going to prioritize finding one of these first, you really want to prioritize finding your extra hero. It's going to give you extra actions, extra abilities, and things like that. But the way the clues come out, you can't necessarily force that. You're going to have to figure out, all right, which clues go with one, because you can't put clues that are impossible, right? I can't say it's on a red space and then put another clue underneath it that says it's on an orange space. Well, those two things can't be true at the same time. So when you put clues out, it has to be true. And so you're going to have to kind of mix and match where the clues go and figuring out where these different things are. Then once you find all three of those, you go fight Tannen the Witch in the zoomed in city, defeat her, win the game before the doom track hits 15. Or before all your heroes die. If that happens, yeah, you're also dead. There are ways to get health back, and actually to even revive a character. If you go over here to the crossroads, you can make a deal, maybe sell your soul. I'm not going to judge, and you can revive a hero. Like I said, there's different abilities, and we'll kind of see how those come into play as we go throughout the playthrough. But for now, let's finish the setup. And so you'll notice there's no monsters on the board yet. There's nothing, right? And so we got to figure out, all right, where are the things? Now, normally, when you are going to add monsters and what's called assets, and this could be items and weapons and allies and clues, different things, you're going to roll 2d4. Now, in the final, one of these is going to be black and one is going to be white, and that kind of helps we're going to do column and row. I don't have a black die for this case. You'll notice these are very different D4s. I love these D4s. I hate the triangular pyramid ones, the ones if you step on in the dead of night, you lose your mind, lose your soul. It's worse than stepping on a Lego, I know that. And so I really love these D4s. I've only got 2 white ones currently, and so we'll just kind of separate those out. And one on the left will be row, and the one on the right will be column, something like that, the way it all plays out. Now, normally, on your turn, you're going to roll these dice to figure out where the monsters are coming out. But at the beginning of the game, during setup, you just do the 4 corners, right? So you put your heroes in the middle. Your home, your house is going to be in one of these 4. The crossroads is going to be in one of these 4. But everything else is randomized. And then you just shuffle up your monster deck, shuffle up your asset deck, and then you start putting them out. And so right here we have a vampire, and she's going to go there on Jericho, California, and see what's next. A Wendigo, and he's going to go up here on Mammoth Cave, hiding in the cave somewhere, fitting. And then what we got? Oh, good. We have an angel. All right, awesome. Those guys really suck. They're hard to beat. And then the last thing, okay, we have a regular old ghost down here in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, a few things going on. We'll take a look at these 2 monsters to give you an idea of what these are. So, a few things. On the left side, you have different ways that the monsters kind of mess with you or mess with the game. So up here you have this blood droplet. In combat, when I rolled my dice for combat, if I roll a 1, a 2, or a 6, I'm going to take damage. Anytime, right? Even if I re-roll, even if I mitigate and change the die, anytime you roll a 1, 2, or 6, you immediately take a damage. So you can see why angels really suck. Also, you'll notice this skull icon here. That means an extra doom. Okay, so every round, the doom track is going to go up 1, period, flat, just because you have the big bad over here, and you see the doom icon at the top of her card here, top left. So she adds 1 doom no matter what. Well, any other monsters on the board, right, at the end of your turn, any monsters on the board add another doom. So, for instance, if it happened to be at the end of our turn that you had all 4 of these out, well, you would add 4 more doom. But any monsters with this icon add an extra. So this would be a 5th doom. So you want to get rid of these guys as soon as possible because they are nasty. They're hard to beat, but they're also really terrible. Another thing is he's going to move. So at the end of the turn, I have to I'm going to roll the dice again, and he's going to move to a different location. So if I don't, let's say I go there and try to defeat him and I lose, Well, unfortunately, next turn he's going to leave. I got to go find him again, and just annoying. Now in the top right, you'll see a magnifying glass icon, and that means when I defeat the angel, I automatically get a clue, and so that's super helpful. So he's nasty and he's hard to beat, but he has a big reward in that I get to get a clue and figure out just to get a little bit closer to one of these three and find where they are. You'll notice the ghost doesn't have any of those icons. It has what's called a fear icon, and that means when I'm rolling dice, if I roll a 3, so this is fear 3. If I roll a 3, that 3 is locked. I can't re-roll it unless I have an assist. In that case, I can unlock it. But in general, you get, it's kind of like Yahtzee rules where you roll and you can re-roll one time. But I can't re-roll fear. And so, ghosts are annoying, but not nearly as terrible as angels. And you'll notice at the bottom, this one has 3 of a kind. This one has a sum of 6. And so when I'm rolling dice, that's what I have to get. On my dice roll, I have to get 3 of a kind to defeat this card. And if I don't defeat it. There is no partial damage. There's no like, oh, I got 2 and I didn't. No, got to be 3 of a kind or nothing. Sum of 6. So 4 plus 2, 5 plus 1, 3 plus 3, whatever. Sum of 6. Even 1 die. Sum of 6 to defeat this monster. So that one's a lot easier. So I'll put these back on their respective places. The places they are haunting and whatnot. And then we're going to add some assets. Now, like I said earlier, assets are items, they're weapons, they're allies, they're clues, they're all sorts of different things. And so let's see what we got. Okay, well, we have a machete. And so every item is going to give you a few different things. Let's see what we got. What's the second thing? Oh, that one's a clue. Excellent. And the third thing, we have a stolen car. Excellent. Nice. Oh, then we have some pie. Got to have pie. Give you a little extra health. All right, so you notice you have some artwork, the name of the card, and then what it does. Its ability down at the bottom. This allows me to ignore tough, which is another monster thing. The Wendigo has that. And basically what that means is you have to use an assist. You have to have an assist token to be able to even attempt to fight that thing, and you have to get rid of one of those. And so if I use the machete in the fight against the Wendigo, then I can ignore that. Or I can kill a vampire. So vampire over here, I can just defeat her. I don't have to roll. I don't have to mitigate. It's just immediate defeat. And actually, oh, good. That actually was in, well, it's not good. Darn it. Okay, that'd be nice if that machete was not next to the vampire because I could get it and then go kill the vampire immediately with it. But hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. The clue is here. So I have to defeat the Wendigo, and then I can use an action to gain a clue, which again draws a card. Stolen car. It's going to go down here to Reno. Fitting. And that gives me some extra movement. And then the pie, you notice the icon again here means it's you can use it throughout the game. Once I have it in my inventory, if I roll a 5+, I can put that die on this card instead of using it in combat, and I can gain some health. So that'll be nice too, down there in Omaha. All right, the final thing to be aware of before we get started is your dice are basically like energy, and every time you roll them, or excuse me, every time you use them, not every single roll, but every time you use them as an action, you're going to lose one. So for instance, if I've got Lucy here and she goes and she's going to fight the ghost down here, and I'm going to roll my 4 dice in combat. Okay, let's say I win or lose, whatever. Well, the next time Lucy goes to use dice, she's only going to have 3, right? And so you just kind of keep track of what's on her card is what she has access to. We'll put this one next to it. Just say, all right, she's got 3 energy. And so as you use your characters, use your heroes, you kind of have to be aware of your energy levels. And there's different ways to gain energy back. If you go home, you can basically spend an action and refresh all the energy on the character that's using the action. But something to keep in mind as you kind of go and get into combat and things like that. On your turn, you have 3 actions. You can use an action to move, and movement would be moving orthogonally up to 2 spaces. So I could go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That would be 1 action. I can fight, so I can enter into a combat. So for instance, I could fight the ghost. That would be another action. I can activate, which would be to take an item into my inventory or an ally, whatever that card is, or a clue. I can activate the card. I can rest, which would put 1 more die back on my card. So like I was saying, if I use Lucy to fight and I'm down to 3, I could use an action to bring 1 die back. And then you can use an action to activate some of the locations. So like the Crossroads, lose 2 HP to revive a hero to 1 HP. That's an action. Some of them take energy dice. So for instance, I could go here to Sioux Falls, and I could basically spend an energy to gain an assist. And that would put an assist into my inventory. And so that would take both an action and an energy die be able to gain something out, based on the card. So after you use up all your actions, so that would be 9 total actions, and also you can't split actions, so I can't move Lucy and do something and then do something with Dan and then do something with Lucy again. Like, it's all the actions for a hero and then moving on to the next one. And after you do the actions, you can flip the hero over to their gray side, and as a reminder of, you've used all of their actions. But after all 9 actions, or 12 once you get your extra hero, and you can see the action economy totally changes once you get the extra hero. But anyway, after you use up all your actions, then it's kind of the doom round, where any monsters on the board add 1 doom, and then any monster effects would also trigger. So for instance, the vampire has the spread icon, which means you'll add another vampire to an adjacent space. You're going to automatically add another monster on the board. Sometimes monsters will move, but then you'll raise up the doom track, and then you'll add more monsters to the board. Every round, you're going to add 3 monsters randomly. You're going to roll your dice. So we got a 4, 4, so that would be 4, 4 down here, so we need to add another monster here. You can't add a monster where there's already a monster. So we'd have to re-roll that, and let's say that was a 3. So that was a 3, 4, right? So the monster would go here, and a new asset card would go there as well. If you kill a monster, if you go to a tile and you kill the monster, but you don't activate the asset, then you can't add another asset there. So let's say I did roll that 4, 4. Well, that pie would have stayed there. I would just be adding a new monster. So you want to activate assets and get them off the board, otherwise monsters will come along and protect them in that town once again. So move around the board, fight monsters, gain assets, find clues, figure out where these 3 things are, and then flip the locations over, figure out where the boss monster is one more time. You'll do this again. You'll need 3 more clues to figure out where she is in the zoomed in the city, and then you'll go fight her. And she has multiple requirements. She only has 2. Some of the other bosses have multiple. You have to fight her twice, or defeat her twice. She's got extra icons as well. 3 increasing numbers, 4 increasing numbers. So that would be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of thing. You have to find and fight her one more time, defeat her twice, and then you win the game. And that's how you play Paranormal.